Alright, close your eyes and imagine that you're outside in a wooded area. Imagine that there are leaves falling from the trees and you can hear the waves crashing in a river or something. You can hear birds in the background. And if you know what I'm talking about, then you're probably familiar with the good old outdoors. I never realized how much I cherished those moments that I spent outside as a kid, playing in the mud and outside until I got older and I realized that I neglected myself by spending hours upon hours staring at my phone, avoiding social interactions, and staying indoors all the time. I'm sure many of you feel the same way that I do. I know that nature is not looked at as vital or essential, but it actually has a lot of psychological and health benefits. Like many of you, you may not think that nature is hard to find, and nowadays, since we live in a society where it's actually in designated areas and it's not just everywhere as it used to be. So, before we begin, I'm going to start by stating that nature was here before we were. According to NASA.gov, the Earth was created 4.5 billion years ago. And in the Christian Bible, it states in Genesis 1:11 that God created vegetation and plantation before he created man. So think about if we didn't have technology, what would be left? What would we do? The answer is nature. We would spend our time just enjoying nature. Despite what history has done to us, think about the psychological toll that this world takes us to. According to NBC News, there was an article stating that social media is actually linked to many mental health disorders and the rise of that, and this is directly correlated with our increase of use in cellular devices and specifically social media. I also found that on commonsensemedia.org there was an article saying that teens spend up to 9 hours a day on their cell phones on social media. And then another report from David Suzuki, he stated that children between the ages 13 to 20 spend less than 1 hour outdoors, and usually it's near their homes on skateboards and bikes and not spent exploring nature or things like that. So now that you understand the barriers, let's discuss the benefits and the importance of overcoming those barriers. So, the psychological benefits it has. Have you ever had a lot on your plate, so much that you can't even think? Well, APA.org, which is the Association of Psychology of America, states that they describe it as you having like a disturbance in your mind, and that actually if you go into a green setting, then that can relieve those symptoms that you're feeling. Also, psychologist Terry Herbert, he performed a study where he gathered people, and for 40 minutes he had them do psychological tests that would wear on them. And they both performed this, the two groups performed the same task, and they were left kind of drained. And so after the test, he had two groups. One group, they had to go for an additional 40 minutes, and they went to a nature preserve. And then the other people, for 40 minutes, they read a magazine and they listened to music. And he found that after they went off and did those things, the people that came back from the nature preserve were actually happier, and they showed more signs of relief and not of anger, like the other people did. Nature is also good for the body in a physical way. An article called Green is Good for You states that there was a study done where people that were in the hospital had just had surgery, and the people that had windows in their recovery rooms, and they had a view of like some greenery, they actually recovered faster, and they went home with less meds, and they went home faster than the other patients who were in like a brick wall or enclosed more. The University of Minnesota also states on their website under an article called, I don't remember what the article is called, but it states that it can actually reduce blood pressure, your heart rate, and it can also reduce stress hormones. So that's pretty cool. In conclusion, nature is found both naturally and psychologically beneficial. And now that you know some of the barriers that we have, and also some of the ways that you can overcome the barriers, I hope that you can agree with me that it's important to put away your phone, go outside, and just take a walk through a nature preserve for the good of your health and your mental. Thank you.